Hi, I'm Mike Beliveau, and today we're back at Duelist Den. And today will probably be the last day of this fine Indian summer weather we're having. It's mid-November right now, and we're actually experiencing what would be mild summertime weather. Temperatures up above 70 right now. Humidity's not too bad. It's the way you wish you could be all year round. But tomorrow we get a little bit of November's reality, and a cold front's going to come through, and it'll be colder and rainy and altogether miserable. So today was a day to get out here, and I'm going to try to make the most of it. Today we are shooting Pedersoli's Queen Anne pistol. Now, I know I've showed you this before, but I've been in the shop tinkering with it, and I've polished the lock up a bit, smoothed it out. I mounted a shotgun bead sight on the barrel, and I've done a little work to lighten up the trigger for the lock work. So we're going to see how this does. And the idea today is to see how this would perform as a self-defense weapon in the 18th century. Now, unfortunately, this is not a real Queen Anne pistol. Pedersoli's pistol, unlike a real Queen Anne, is a fixed barrel pistol. Real Queen Annes have a screw-off barrel and a chamber back in here where you'd put powder and ball and screw the barrel back on. So these are made to look like that, but they are a conventional front-loading muzzleloader. 50 caliber smoothbore. But that doesn't invalidate our test, because there were tons of smoothbore, relatively small pistols made in London and other places during the 18th century because it was a dangerous time. Whether you were on the dark, mean streets of London at night, or you were in the forest defending yourself in the colonies, a good pistol was handy to have. And for most of the century, they would have been smoothbores because at the ranges that pistols were going to be used, there was no reason to rifle them and add that expense. These things were not 100-yard shooters. They were, belly button blasters. So let's see what our improvements have wrought with the Pedersoli as far as making it more effective. Today I'm going to load the Pedersoli Queen Anne pistol two different ways. And I'm going to see which of these 18th century loading methods shoots the most accurately. So first I'm going to load it with just powder, a bare round ball, and then a folded paper wad on top of it. I'll shoot 5 of those, see how they do. Then I'm going to load it with paper cartridges. Now this also has 40 grains of 3F Swiss powder, just like the bare ball load will have. And it uses a .457 inch ball, and the bare ball is using a .490 inch diameter ball. So let's load up the bare ball and take it to the range and see how it does. But we'll start off with the traditional load of a bare ball and a paper wad. I'm going to use 40 grains of 3F Swiss black powder. So we'll just pour that down. Now I'm going to take that 490 ball, whop her in, and now I'm going to take that paper wad and I'm just going to send it down on top of it to put some tension on the ball and hold it in. And it's just that simple, so let's go see how it shoots. Okay, I've got a target set up 15 yards downrange, which is kind of extreme self-defense range for the Queen Anne pistol. So I'm going to prime it. I'm going to shoot it with the bare ball and a brown paper wad. And we're going to see how it does. And hopefully it'll shoot better than it did before I worked on it. Let's see. All right, a little bit high. Alright, that's 5. Let's see how we did. Okay, not great marksmanship, but I would not want to be that guy. So, with bare ball, I got 1 in the 7 ring, 1 in the 8 ring, and 3 in the 9 ring. So, more than likely, that guy is not going to finish the attack. Now, of course, I only got 1 of these at a time. You know, it is a single shot gun, but preponderantly, if I do my part, it looks like it'll go in the right place. Not great, but okay. So let's see how paper cartridges do. Okay, so we did our bare ball, and now we're going to use paper cartridges. So, of course, these were typically used in a military context. Right? The idea was to speed up loading and also to make logistics easier. So the way these are done is basically you'd bite the tail off the back. I'm just going to rip it and throw it away. Powder and ball are in here. I'm going to pour in the powder. That's 40 grains of 3F Swiss, just like before. Okay, now I'm going to ram down the entire cartridge, just as it is. And we're done. All right, let's go shoot it. Well, now that we know what a bare ball load will do, let's take the Queen Anne pistol loaded with paper cartridges, put 5 of them down on the paper, see if we do better or worse. All right, let's do some more. All right, let's go take a look. Okay, well, it looks like we got kind of comparable accuracy out of the cartridges, but a different sort of a pattern, where we were consistently to the left shooting the bare ball. With the paper cartridges, we seem to be hitting a little more centered. So certainly not what you would call a tight group. So let's see where we landed. Okay, so once again, we've got an attacker who has probably given up the fight. I mean, everything hit in a lethal zone. So that's all to the good. So I guess that tells us that loaded with ball, either way, in the 18th century, that Queen Anne pistol, 50 caliber smoothbore, would have been a viable self-defense weapon. All right, well, now we know how the round balls are shooting. Let's try one more load and see how it does. I'll put that away. Let's try some buckshot. I don't ordinarily load buckshot because I feel, honestly, that one large, well-placed slug is more effective than a bunch of small ones that may not hit where you want them to. But a lot of people love the idea of buckshot, so let's see how it does. So I'm going to load 40 grains of 3F Swiss. I'm going to take a hard over powder wad. I just took a 1/2 inch punch and punched these out. So let me load that down. Help get some compression. I'm going to take 2 felt wads, 1/2 inch felt wads. Put them down. Now, all right, I've got number 2 buckshot, and I'm going to put 6 of them in. And then I'm going to take a 1/2 inch overshot card and put that down. Okay. All right, let's see what buckshot does to a bad guy. Okay, I'm going to try a load of buckshot out of the Queen Anne pistol at 15 yards. 15 yards is probably the maximum range that I would be trying buckshot at. So if I don't have any effect at 15, I may move it up to 10 just to see what it does. But I am curious to see, since we've been shooting at 15, what buckshot will do at 15. So let's see. All right. Okay, at 15 yards with buckshot, I can see one of the wads right there on the target. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6 that are on target, and 3 of them are in the put a hurt on them zone. So I would say, if you want to do buckshot, 10 yards, that's probably it. All right, we'll try one at 10 yards just to see. Okay, let's try a load of buckshot again out of the Queen Anne pistol. This time from 10 yards. And let's see if we have a little more effect on the target. Well, let's go take a look. At 10 yards, we're putting a lot more hurt on this guy. So these black spots, those are the 15-yard buckshot. So at 10 yards, we've got 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't know where the 6th one went. Got the case of the disappearing buckshot here. Got 1 hole or 2, yep, just 1. Okay, well we know we got 5. And we got them all in the kill zone. So I would say that buckshot has its uses. And I would think particularly in the dark, at fairly close range, when it's hard to get any kind of sight picture on your target, that's when you'd want to use a buckshot. Otherwise, I really think you'd want to be loaded with ball. Okay, well, we have done a lot of shooting on paper today. More than I like to do. I want to shoot some stuff. So I've got a 2-liter water bottle out there just to kind of break the monotony. I'm going to see if I can shoot it with the Pedersoli Queen Anne. And ordinarily, 2 liters is bigger than I like to use as a handgun target. I mean, 1 liter is big enough, generally speaking, but this Queen Anne pistol has demonstrated that it is not exactly Olympic class, at least not in my hands. So 2 liters is actually going to be a bit of a challenge for me. So let's see if I can put a hole in it. Well, Anne is a pretty tough old girl. So old Queen Anne dropped that bottle like a stone. Well, this was the beauty of putting this gun on paper. I aimed right here. And I drilled them dead center. Now, I'm going to be the first one to admit that there was as much luck as there was skill involved in making that hit, but I'm going to take it. Well, if you're an 18th century trekker, is it worth carrying the Queen Anne pistol into the woods? That's a question you got to ask yourself. And I think there is one valid use for it, certainly, and that's loaded with birdshot in snake country. And where I live, everything around here is snake country. So let me show you how to load this with shot, and then we've got a clay bird set up back there. If I can dust that clay bird from about 7 yards, then I would say we could probably take out a rattler snake as well. So let's get her loaded up and then see what it does on the clay bird. All right, so loading birdshot, just like loading the buckshot we already did. I'm going to load 40 grains of 3FG powder. I've got a hard nitro card that I'm going to put in. That card will give me good compression over the powder. Alright, now I'm going to put two felt wads down as a cushion wad. Alright, now I'm using this dipper and I'm going to scoop in 7/8 of an ounce of number 7.5 birdshot. And I'm going to top it off with a thin card wad. What clay bird? Okay, so I think it's safe to say that this'll do you for snakes probably anywhere out to 10-15 yards, no problem at all. And that's a good reason for carrying it around with you when you're out on a trek.
So what's the verdict? Would the Queen Anne pistol from Pedersoli have been a good choice for self-defense in the 18th century? And I think the answer is an unqualified yes. I mean, it put everything we threw at the target into the lethal zone. Adding this shotgun bead front sight was a big help, no doubt about that. But I think even without it, it would have done adequately. But with it, it was a killer. And it worked just fine with round ball, however you loaded it, with buckshot, with birdshot. So this is a pretty effective overall weapon. And it really is a tremendous amount of fun to shoot. I've got only 3 flintlock pistols. But of the 3, this thing is my darling. I just really enjoy taking this out and shooting it, especially with paper cartridges. It really has been a lot of fun. So I enjoyed shooting this. I hope you enjoyed watching the video of it. And if you did, you know the drill. Give it a big thumbs up because that helps us come up on your recommendations. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to Duelist 1954. We would love to have you. And check out my website, MikeBeliveau.com, for more black powder content. And if you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon, and we'll give you a link down below. So I'll see you next week. Bye.